Hello and welcome to Data Planet. I'm Emma Davis, and today we have a special treat. Two guests for the price of one. Two marketing VPs from Tealium. We have Sav Khetan, VP of Product Marketing, and Meghan Whinery, VP of Growth Marketing. Welcome to the show, both of you.
Hi.
Thanks for having us.
So we have this unique opportunity with both of you on the show to explore some of our favorite themes, but from two different perspectives. I think what will be helpful is starting with some context. So you're both marketing VPs at Tealium. Tell us a little bit, Sav, about what Tealium does and who your customers are.
Yeah, Tealium is a data management platform. At the core, we do data collection, we do data orchestration, we have a CDP, we have a tag manager. We are basically the kind of product that brings all the other tools in the marketing stack together, and everything from personalization to AI activation to privacy governance. We do a lot of stuff that marketing teams need with their data.
Okay,
And our
great.
ICP is usually large enterprises. We are over-indexing in finance, in travel, in e-commerce, retail, all the ones that really have a customer life cycle that they have to engage and convert from unknown to known, and then make them customers. That kind of business model.
Okay, fantastic. So, uh, what I would love to do next, now that we know a little bit about Tealium, is a little bit of an activity where I'm going to ask each of you to explain what the other's role is. So, what is the role of product marketing at Tealium? What is the role of growth marketing at Tealium? So, Sav, I'm going to start with you again. Can you talk about Megan's role and her team focusing on growth marketing at Tealium?
Yeah, I think of Megan and her team as the amplifier and the growth engine from a bringing people to the party point of view. She's the promoter. She's the one who puts out all our messages in all the different formats. She makes noise about Tealium everywhere, and she really fills the top of the funnel with our pipeline. So I would say those are the ways I think about Megan's team. Anything that we come up with from a idea point of view, she makes into a campaign and then she puts it out there.
Megan, anything that you would add to that Sav missed? He's underestimating you.
That's a million things. I'm just kidding. Yeah, no, I think Sav did a great job of covering off on the top half of kind of what myself and my team do of amplifying and creating that brand awareness and um, creating pipeline for our organization. But also an important avenue that I focus on is also how do we progress a lot of that pipeline. We have long enterprise sales cycles, right? So a big job of ours is not only just getting them into the funnel, but now how do we actually convert them into the next stage and the next stage and ultimately into closed won deals. And then beyond that, once they become customers, right, how do we continue to engage and convert them into lifelong customers and get them to engage with more of our product?
Okay, awesome. And then Megan,
Yes.
Sav is our product marketer at Tealium. What is his role from your perspective?
Well, Sav is the master of communicating, I think, up to our executive leadership team, but then also over to the other side of the fence with the technical side of the house, right? And I think a big portion of his role as a product marketer is to understand and influence our actual product development, to see, hearing the street on the feet of what do our customers actually want and how can that influence the roadmap, and then also understanding what is on our roadmap and how can we share that with the marketing teams and the rest of the sales organization or revenue organization to ensure that we are communicating and pre-selling and getting the excitement and the hype up about things. So it's a little bit two-handed. I think Sav also and product marketing function does an incredible job enabling our sales organization, and CS organization and kind of that whole revenue team to really make sure that they understand our product, what's exciting, what's new, what are we updating, what's fresh, and then how do we market that.
Okay, love this. Sav, anything that you feel like Megan missed or that you would characterize differently?
I think she described my function better than I described her function. So that well done.
We
No,
are
I
keeping score, so all right.
yeah, no, I think that was spot on. Our product is very complex. We have a lot of different things we do. So I've always seen my job as the person who sits in the middle and is sort of the inside out voice for everything product and engineering is doing. And I used to work in product and engineering before. So that actually is a good, I sit in the middle in a nice way. So that works out.
Nice. And I hope you both take this as the compliment or the compliments it's intended to be. You both have the personalities of a product marketer and a growth marketer. I would say like, you come across as though you are made for those roles. So, um, and yeah, cool hearing you talk about each other's roles. So obviously, there's a good amount of at least understanding, if not also reliance. What do you rely most on each other for?
So much. I mean, I'll start with this one. From my standpoint, Sav and the product marketing team are kind of our right hand, right? We are in the stages right now for our next stage of planning of what content and product and key themes do we want to have in market, right? And then it's important for me to be able to share with their team what's working, what's resonating, what are people coming to us and engaging with. So it's really that constant communication and sharing of what's working, what do we need to address, what are some of the themes and topics that we want to seed the market with based on where our product is eventually heading or going, where maybe the market's not there for it yet, but we want to start kind of planting that seed because we know that it takes time. So we definitely rely on each other, I think, for a lot of planning and then execution and kind of that feedback loop as well.
Yeah, I would say Megan is my number one customer. Everything that we produce at the end of the day, we have to understand whether it met both campaign goals and company goals because we might want to talk about AI, for example, but maybe it's not affecting pipeline the way we thought it would, or maybe it's not helping with deal progression the way we thought, or vice versa. Deal progression is finding a lot of success with some topic, and we haven't served that topic well enough, or we have an opportunity to lead into it. So I think of Megan as my eyes and ears with the field. I talk to the solutions consulting team a lot, but Megan really interacts with everybody else. So that gives me she's the person I trust to tell me, oh, let's dial this up, let's dial this down, help me understand this topic more, that kind of stuff. So I use her to as my temperature check and my speed gauge both.
Lovely. And you started to touch on, Sab, some of the sort of measures of success. So I'll take that as an opportunity for a segue. I want to talk about the measures of success that you have in common and those that are maybe unique to the product versus growth marketing functions. And in approaching this question, thinking about how I approach this question with my team, it sounds different when you're talking about like rattle off for me the things that you care about versus what are you actually looking at when you're trying to prioritize and figure out what you're going to spend time or budget or energy on. And so I'd love to approach it from that perspective. Like, any marketer who says, "Oh, my ultimate success is the, revenue and growth for the company." Okay, like you got it, table stakes, you made it. But like, what are the things that you look at to understand how you want to prioritize resources for you and your team? Megan, I don't know if you want to go first.
Yeah.
Sure. So I think exactly to your point, like our North Star is bookings, right, for the business, but we know that there's a lot of steps in between to get to that point. So, it's kind of looking at early, middle, late stage. Like if we're trying to drive brand awareness and get people to engage with us, what are those top of the funnel metrics that we're really trying to just focus on driving engagement? And then a little bit further down, like what are the metrics that we're looking at, like meetings? Meetings is a big one for us, and really that handover point to the SDRs. That's one of our North Stars before pipeline is created. So what is that like, leading indicator of how many meetings are or what kind of quality meetings are being booked from what programs, what initiatives, what themes, what topics, with which persona, what is an important part in enterprise selling or in enterprise marketing. And then beyond the meeting conversion point, kind of like that late stage, okay, now what's actually driving that pipeline creation? And then continuing through the funnel, what's actually progressing things? Are there certain programs or activities or themes that influence the velocity of some of our deals? and then ultimately getting to that closed one. And then beyond the closed one, too, right? Of how are we continuing to drive adoption within our existing customer base and loyalty and net promoter scores and whatnot. So, for me, long winded answer, I think there are many points along the sales cycle and in the sales journey that are important to measure success. And I think the crossover with the product marketing team is really sharing like some of those key focal points for us, like the meeting creation and the pipe creation, as well as closed one.
Nice.
Yeah,
And
I rely on Megan for the conversion side of things. I focus on influence and usage on my side. So, looking at different audiences, different topics, and then different funnel stages. And in each of the categories, is the content that we created doing what it was supposed to do? And is it getting used by the right people? And is it actually making the difference that we wanted? And that's different if it's top of the funnel. It's a little different if it's middle. It's a different if it's expansion versus retention, which tends to be, we see a clear difference between existing customer needs and prospect conversations. And then we see a very clear difference between a new topic like AI, which you have to talk about, but it doesn't affect the conversion metrics, but you can't let it go. So then how do you measure that? So that I would say, like, I have those three buckets. Press and buzz related stuff that we're doing because we have to, and what are the conversion metrics for that, which is views, click-throughs, consumption, mentions. Then top of the funnel, is it driving the meetings that we wanted? Is it driving downloads that we wanted? Is it getting used the way we wanted? And then middle funnel, I would say, is it getting helping people close deals? Is it actually giving the SCs the competitive sort of baton that they needed at the last moment? And then expansion is all about existing consumers, adoption rates, usage rates, view throughs, and are they actually using the product the way we wanted them to use it? So that's kind of, it just depends where it is in the process.
Yeah, and I think Sav brought up a good example with AI, right? At least for us at Tealium, AI is an important talk track. I think that every single company in America, if not the world, is glomming onto, right? And there's a lot of noise around it. And we have a lot of pressure from our board, from our leaders to, find Telium's niche in the AI space, right? So it is our job to continue to plant that seed and build that brand awareness, and continue to message that within, our net new audience, but then also within our customer base into how they can be using AI in our product and then how it helps their AI initiatives as well. But then from a pipeline creation and an acceleration standpoint on my side, from the growth marketing angle, that isn't what we're currently seeing create that pipeline and accelerate that pipeline. So knowing kind of and using that feedback with each other of, hey, we're really seeing AI move the needle and kind of get a lot of mentions and in the on the brand side and then also resonate with our customers, but it's not progressing deals. It's not creating that new pipeline. So we
mm,
need these particular messages to do that in complement to some of our other messages.
that's so interesting. And I'm curious about where you both listed a lot of different things that you're looking at. And what's tricky and something you just touched on, Megan, is sometimes you're looking at similar things, but for different audiences. It might
Mhm.
be your existing customers versus, prospects or trying to just start conversations with net new potential customers. And so are there any can you think of a recent sort of friction point where in trying to determine a direction or a priority for marketing overall, product and growth were not on the same page about we need to be focusing on this? Or is it always an additive thing of I'm seeing this, therefore I want to do this? Well, I'm seeing this, so based on these two different perspectives, let's choose option C.
Well, let me. I'll go first, Megan, and then you keep me honest. So I'll pick two topics. One is mobile. Mobile is an area of focus and expansion for the business because we know that it helps in many different directions, but it does not work in Megan's channels the same way that it works in customer marketing channels. So, uh, product marketing might have that as a priority, but I don't think it's going to line up with Megan's priorities, and we've had to make peace with that. And similarly, Snowflake, Databricks, the data clouds is a very, very big part of our business. Every single customer now uses them, and we got to work very closely with them. But again, the talk track from strategy point of view and product point of view does not line up with growth marketing and conversion point of view. So it's a that we for both of these we can look at the metrics, but we have to make peace that growth marketing is going to think of it differently and product marketing is going to think of it differently. But it wasn't clear when we started. We were both going at it the same way, and then we've had to like come to come to the table with the real metrics and decide, okay, we'll service one differently. So it just takes time. AI, data cloud, and mobile are the three that I would say that over the last couple of year, we've had to do it and then learn and then reset. I
Mhm.
don't know if you agree. Yeah.
100% agree, and I think adding to that, alignment with the executive leaders too on kind of where some of these product features, functionalities really have a place in the sales cycle, right? Because 'Cause we'll get friction from sellers because they're like, "Hey, why are we focusing on, AI or mobile or data clouds with net new logos? It's not we're not getting it there." And if my team is continuously pushing them, "Hey, do this with your net new logos, sell mobile, they're not getting those mobile conversations, right? And then it's frustrating or, they're going where the money is.
Mhm.
So I think that part of the alignment beyond even the two of us managing up and then managing out to the revenue teams that both of us support is a really important thing as we learn how, our markets are reacting to kind of our messaging to make sure that we're then taking and kind of sharing our learnings out with the rest of the org as well.
And I'm curious, Emma, what you're experiencing because it's been the craziest like year and a half that I've ever experienced in my career. I would say the goalposts are not. I can't even say the goalposts are moving. Like I don't even know where the goalposts are anymore.
We're not
And
even playing a sport that has goalposts
yeah,
anymore.
I that you know what I think. Yes, so there is no way that in January I could have said that this is what my June would have looked like, and that level of uh, fog has never existed before. So in this situation, you don't know if you can repeat success with what you did before. You don't
Mhm.
know what is going to be successful next year, and you don't know what to do today, right? So it's such a dynamic time. It's very exciting from an education and learning and growth point of view. It's absolutely terrifying from a delivery and from a numbers point of view, and everything in the middle. So, I don't know, what are you seeing with all the people you talk to and everyone you experience this with?
Yeah, I mean, this may just be a worldview scenario, but what I'm finding or what I'm interpreting is that everybody who thinks they have it figured out is gonna have a much harder time than people who are open to the possibility that they're wrong or open to the possibility that there's something else coming. And so, like, a lot of what we do for our clients on the paid digital side involves predictive modeling. We like working with companies that have long sales cycles or complex value creation cycles, specifically because, I mean, that's more fun and interesting, and we can add more value there than if we're just selling like a $5, fidget toy or whatever. So, with that, what we're constantly doing is, yes, throwing a dart in the future, but we're also constantly checking, not because we need our models to be perfect, but because the historic data we're using or the different sources of data we're using to make those forecasts or to feed the bidding and targeting algorithms on the ad network side, that's going to tell us something also, based on what we've seen historically, based on what we're trying to achieve. This is the thing we think should be working now. That didn't work exactly the way we anticipated it would. So what changed? And it gives us more insight into staying on top of what's changing than if we just assume like we're always right about this and we can only ever take our best guess and there's nothing else we can do. It's like, well, this is part of the process now, is trying to guess and perpetually being ready to be wrong and figure out, okay, so what do we learn from that to keep moving?
Yeah, I think hypothesis setting and proving wrong is fundamental to marketing, right? And
Yeah.
kind of what we all strive to do in each one of our channels and in our worlds.
I mean, I think of two examples, right? So when COVID happened, the first thing we came and said, right, in like, I would say May, June of 2020, was that all the data that we had before COVID was suddenly not usable because the COVID time was just not like anything before it. So now you had to almost throw out everything before COVID and try to learn every week what you had to do. And then it settled down over like 21, 22. So I think that mindset is coming back a little bit, that you have to be very aware and current with your adaptability right now. And I think that it's a very interesting mindset. And then I think the second thing, which is kind of what you and Megan both alluded to, is we kind of don't know what we don't know, and we have to be absolutely open to just changing the way we work very quickly. And I had to deal with this when Agile and Scrum used to happen, and I was in agency world, and my customer would say, "Oh, we want to develop this with Agile." First thing we would say is, Agile doesn't just mean I do a sprint and nothing changes. Like, top down, everybody has to work differently, and are you willing to commit to that? And I
Hmm.
think that's what's happening now, is literally the way of working is going to change all the way from the top down, and we all have to adapt. And
Hmm.
I feel like different leaders are adapting differently, and the expectation from the top is very fuzzy. They don't know what to ask for, but they feel like they have to push us in a direction, and we're all trying to figure this
Yeah.
out, right? So it's a really exciting but also terrifying time all at once. And I
Yeah.
kind of, yeah. So
Yeah. I do think there are still some core things that stay the same no matter what. And again, this maybe goes more to like worldview things. So I still think anything other than revenue and profit is has the potential to lead you astray. And so if you're looking at, wow, a suspiciously great uptick in top of funnel activity, you should be suspicious. It's probably coming with a dip in quality. It's probably, and so continuing to focus on that and continuing to focus on human connection and kindness, honestly. Like, we're all so, again, I think if you're smart, I had a math professor once who said the more you learn about math, the more small and insignificant you feel and the more aware you are that you don't know. So I frankly trust people more who have some humility in their own knowledge and abilities. Um, but with that, then it's like, in this age of AI and everything changing, paying attention to how people are feeling, paying attention to what other people are saying, and making sure you can still connect that and use that information. I mean, that's part of why I love doing this show, is just getting to hear different people's points of view on things and sort of synthesize that for myself, for my guests, for my clients and my team. Like, all of that is, I think, incredibly valuable.
yeah, I love that. The kindness is such a great uh, thing to remember. The other thing I'll say now on the positive side is we've been able to reduce our time to market, let's say, of all our deliverables quite a bit. Like, with just getting all the skills in cloud working and all the different co-work skills just fine tuned, I can produce something in 3 hours that would take me 5 days. And with that, like, that does allow me to adapt and pivot quickly. And I'm seeing the same thing with all our different teams, right? So it kind of comes with that opportunity also, that you can experiment more, you can respond faster, you can try different things. But to your point, if it's not intentional and if it's not with a clear objective in mind, then you churn. But if you have a clear hypothesis, like you said, Megan, then I think you can validate that pretty fast now. So it's amazing time. If I didn't have the sales targets and revenue targets, I would love this time, actually, honestly. So
To just play,
yeah, to
just
just
play and see
play.
what happens.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. All right. Well, I have one more question for you. You both have mentioned a certain level of executive interest or involvement. So I'm curious, if you could force every SaaS executive, whether it's at Tealium or in the world, we'll start with at Tealium, to understand one thing about marketing, what would it be?
Ooh, I've got a good one. No silver bullet. It's never just one thing. It's
Mhm.
we can't put all of our money in events because events offer that, great human touch. We can't put all of our money in digital, right? Because it's got broad coverage and we can really be targeted and be maniacal about it. But it's never just one thing. What works for one person in one moment in time for one vertical is not always going to be replicated over and over again. So it's very much that there's a multitude of things, and it's kind of how they all work in combination with each other.
Yeah, I don't know how many times we say that
Top it,
internally, right?
Sav, top it.
Yeah, top it. Oh, well, I would say I want my execs to just get on the same page more often. Like I think we've never had a more confusing time to deal with, and I think marketing is always getting different priorities from
Mhm,
all at the same time, and we have to then pick. And so I wish there would just be more realization that alignment has never mattered more than it
mm,
does now. And
mhm,
I think focus and clarity of the why behind the tasks now, I think matters more than it ever has. I would say earlier it was probably just there by default.
mm,
Now I think is a time where you kind of have to be more, you have to work to be in sync. So
mhm.
I would say that that's what I would like.
Yeah. I love both of those answers. I was thinking while you were talking about, you know, the the complexities and the friction points in your measures of success. It's complex and it's nuanced, and that is the case at every level of marketing, every segment, every customer is gonna be different within those segments. Like, I love the "there's no silver bullet" thing. Like,
Yeah,
that's a
and
great one.
marketing takes time, right? Like you can't
Yeah.
just you can't put a campaign out there and measure it tomorrow. I know you can get data tomorrow, but that doesn't mean the campaign had time to take hold. So
Yeah.
you got to just
Yeah.
give you it's but again, I understand the
Yeah.
pressure everybody's under. So I,
Yeah.
I don't want their job either, So
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, but I love the alignment piece too because it's, the only thing worse than feeling like the goalpost is so far out you can't see it is there are 6 different goalposts. Which one am I supposed to be taking the ball to or puck, whatever
I
sport
have
we're
never
playing?
spent this much time on executive alignment before in my career, ever. This has just become a normal part of the job now, which I think is okay. But that's my wish.
Yeah, and in the spirit of everyone working so fast with AI and empowered with AI, so much is going on. So also like the internal marketing of what is being covered and what great things are going across the line, aside from, our North Stars and in pipeline creation or, revenue bookings and whatnot of, what are the good things of how we're adopting AI and becoming more efficient as well.
Yeah, that's such a good point. I think it's called the vector theory of management. Like your direction and magnitude. When you combine those, you get your vector, and so you want everybody to be pointed in the same direction because it's the sum of your vectors that determines where you go. With AI, the magnitude of each individual vector can be so much greater, and so everybody being in a slightly different direction can go so much further off course from each other. I think
And
that's a
so
great
fast, right?
observation.
Yeah, and
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely.
that's a great example.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation. I'm so grateful for both of you joining me today on Data Planet to share your insights and your perspective. Listeners, if you want to learn more about Meghan, Sav, and Tealium, details will be in the show notes. Otherwise, thank you both so much for joining me today.
Thanks,
Thank you for
Emma.
having us.